This is the WHTC Morning News with Gary Stevens and Peg McNichol on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
And we welcome you back to the WHTC Morning News for this Friday, May 14th. Friday mornings at this time, we travel Michigan, find out what's going on in travel and tourism in our state, some attractions that aren't too far away. And we do so with the Vice President of Pure Michigan. He is Dave Lorenz. He joins us via the Zoom connection this morning. Where do we find Dave Lorenz this morning, sir?
Good morning, Gary. I know you can probably see in the background on Zoom that I am on beautiful Mackinac Island right now and actually standing on the sidewalk just outside the Murdoch's Fudge original store. You know, Murdoch's was the original fudge maker 134 years ago, and they're still making fudge in that pure Michigan fashion using pure Michigan sugar, pure Michigan milk and butter and cherries and all those things like that. So it's a beautiful morning up here. A little chilly, but very nice.
It is very nice, and one cannot think of Mackinac Island without thinking of Jane Seymour and the late Christopher Reeve somewhere in time.
Yep, absolutely. In fact, I was at Mission Point Resort for a meeting, yesterday morning, and I got to see their new conference center. Mission Point is one of those, the two big resorts on the island. Of course, everybody knows Grand Hotel over on the kind of west side of the island, or north, I get confused. And then Mission Point is kind of on the east or south part of the island. And it has a great history as well. One of the things is there's a movie set there, a sound studio still today, and it's near their conference center. So they've redone their conference center. It's beautiful. And then right next door is this beautiful theater, kind of old timey, where they premiered Somewhere in Time after doing the production right here on the island. Back in the day when they would do everything in that same location, you know, all the studio technicians would come in. They didn't all do it back in Hollywood. And, you know, when it premiered in that theater, Christopher Reeves was here and Jane Seymour was here. And then later on, they had another show of that. And Christopher Reeves came back and talked about the movie with everybody as well. So there's actually one of the seats has his name written on it. So it's pretty cool.
Mission Point is one place. I've been to Mackinac Island a couple of times. I have not made it the round to that side. I've more or less.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Once I stop, you know, I get to the Grand Hotel, and then all of a sudden, yeah, that's it. I'm done. I don't go any further.
You know, because people might be surprised. You know, the island has quite a bit of variation of height to it. You know, so if you're just staying downtown and then maybe biking around the island, you're going to be, you know, at basically lake level. But you can certainly climb up there. And actually, I always recommend, as fun as it is to go around the island on a bike, really go in the interior of the island, go into the forest, check out those really spectacular natural features there, and make sure to go to the military cemetery. It's one of 4 cemeteries in the country, which is always on half mast. So that's a special designation, and you need to learn all about the reasons why when you come here.
We're talking with Dave Lorenz of Pure Michigan. He is on Mackinac Island this morning, and I've been fortunate to be a guest at the Grand Hotel when it wasn't tourism season. It was in the spring, where the hotel was not filled with tourists and visitors, and it was for a food conference, and enjoyed it immensely. Yeah,
well, I'll tell you,
I know.
It's pretty quiet here right now. Even though, you know, they kind of quote unquote open up May 1st, even though the island's always available to visit. I've been here in the wintertime, and it's really cool then because there's nobody here. But right now it's quite quiet. If you are a little concerned about distancing and such, now is the time to come up here. You're going to get good deals as well. I was over at Grand Hotel yesterday for a meeting with the new ownership, and I have to tell you, they're doing some great things. The great thing about being part of a really big company is you have a lot more capital working for you. So they're redoing the Esther Williams pool. It looks spectacular. They're going back to the design, kind of the original design, which included a slide. Even though this will have a more modern looking slide, they have a new slide on. They have an infinity pool that will be attached to that as well. It's pretty spectacular, but still staying true to all the kind of the heritage of the hotel at the same time.
We're talking with Dave Lorenz of Pure Michigan. Correct me if I'm wrong, Grand Hotel went through a little renovation, didn't it?
They're always going through renovations, but that's continuing. And I'll tell you, I was also at the Chippewa yesterday. They put a lot of money in this last winter, and the lobby looks spectacular. I wasn't able to check out the rooms; just didn't have time. But there is also a new hotel called the Mackinac House, and it's actually not on the main street. It's one street up, and so it's a little quieter. And it's almost like a bed and breakfast. Really cute little rooms, and then they offer like a continental breakfast as well. Really great deal. Ask about that, and it's operated by the same people who operate the Chippewa.
And of course, for me, bed and breakfasts have a little special thing because my first wife and I, we spent our honeymoon bed and breakfasting and in New England, and it is something unique, especially not the more modern ones, but if you go into a renovated building, and you all eat at the same table, that is something special.
Yeah, of course, these days with all the restrictions, it's most of the B&Bs. Even here are either offering you meals in your room like they do at the Mackinac House or some other, change. But I'll tell you, we're going through a big transition right now. And before you know it, as we've been saying all along, as people are getting these vaccinations, we're really moving forward. We're opening up more and more every day. So if you're going to travel this summer, I highly recommend you make your bookings now, get your planning done. We always say your trip begins at michigan.org, and now's the time to do that planning.
One final thing, and of course, we're sort of focusing on Mackinac Island this week, but it's more than just the island. And I can attest for the fact that St. Ignace has its great charms. Mackinac City, Fort Mission, Mackinac is another one. I've toured that as well. Just a great area in the Straits.
It's a beautiful area. The tip of the Mitt into the UP as well. And you mentioned, the other towns, that you generally get to take the ferry over to the island. I love them as well. It's a really neat area. So when you come here, among other things, make sure to check out the historical parks, including the forts on both Mackinac City and on the island. Check out Mill Creek Park as well, which is just a short drive away from Mackinac City towards Sheboygan. That's where they have a working sawmill. They even have a zip line, so you can feel like you're an eagle flying over the water. It's pretty cool.
Of course, for me, a good place to eat is not really an historic place, but it's to me, it's got the best burgers around. With all due respect to our friends around here, you can't beat Clyde's. I'm sorry, you can't beat Clyde's.
Yeah, Clyde's. In fact, this is funny, Gary. I had never been to Clyde's until last summer or fall. I forget. I was out and about doing videos with the Under the Radar PBS TV crew, Jim Edelman and Tom Dalton, and they said, let's go to Clyde's. And so I finally had a Clyde's burger. It is as good as advertised. So really good stuff.
They, the grill, it's been around forever, it seems. And, but of course, there are other fine establishments if you want to get a good burger in our state. I just don't. Oh, you bet. I don't want to give Clyde's too much. Yes, it is.
Yeah, good food everywhere. So check that out.
Dave, have a safe trip back home, and we look forward to chatting with you next week.
Sounds good. Talk to you then.
Thank you very much. Dave Lorenz with our Travel Michigan segment on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.